Today's video is all about expanding your consciousness, self-empowerment, enlightenment, liberating yourself from suffering. In the end is what it's all about. So we live in two states of being. We have our survival self, reactive behavior, and in that state, the world, our perception is the world happens to us, and we live out of this fight or flight response. We live out of reactivity, narrow our focus from infinite potentials that we can experience in this world to a finite moment, a finite position in space and time, which is, unfortunately, I'm stuck, I'm a victim, it's someone else's fault, life's not fair, the universe is hostile, whatever it may be. The other state of consciousness we live in is creation, expression. And this is where our limitless emotions and limitless expressions of self arise from. But to gain access to this heightened state of consciousness, we have to move out of survival. Most people's true self and most people's creativity and most people's genius and enthusiasm is trapped. It's caught up in chemistry of that survival, the reactivity of the hormones of stress and constantly reacting to life. And then we suffer, constantly resisting what is, and we bring about suffering, not just for ourselves, but for the people around us as well. So enlightenment is about moving beyond, or should I say transmuting, that limited chemistry of survival and turning that into gold. Okay? It's basically this energy that's required to turn on the chemistry of our survival, then moves from these base survival centers, these base energy centers that are to do with consumption and fight or flight, stress response, etc., addiction. It moves from that chemistry back into energy. And this is where we find enthusiasm. Now, the closely related word to enthusiasm is entheos, which means to be possessed by a god. And I don't know, have you ever been around one of those people where they're just electric? You can see it in their eyes. They've just got so much enthusiasm, so much creative energy, spiritual energy. It's magnetic. Well, that's available to you as well. You can have that. This is your birthright, but you have to move out of survival. You've got to move out of these survival centers where the world's happening to us, and you move into creation. And then you can be possessed by a god and go about your day manifesting your heart's desire and contributing to the world, or doing whatever it is that you feel called to do inside yourself. But it's very, very hard when we're living by the stress response. So one of the most important things to remember is every time you react, you turn on that fight or flight response. So every time you are moving into blame or anger and frustration and judging someone else, you're switching on the same neurological circuitry in your brain that then signals the body to switch on the same hormonal centers, the same limited emotions in your body to create the mirror between your thinking and your feeling. And now you're bound in this survival self again. You're bound in this lower state of consciousness. So today's video is about you bringing presence, you bringing non-reactivity, love and compassion into the next event it's going to come. They always keep on coming. They're opportunities. These events are opportunities for you to become more conscious, right? So today's video is an opportunity. I'm asking you to see how much compassion, how much complete consciousness without reactivity you can bring into the next quote unquote trigger, or the next event that in your past would have caused you to move into that unconscious reactive state. Because as you no longer react, as I said earlier, that energy that is currently being consumed to turn on all this chemistry in the body, there's so much chemistry, to be frustrated, to be judging and blaming, and there's so much energy being used, that this higher consciousness remains separate from us. It seems just unattainable. But the less you react, the more you transmute that into consciousness itself, into being possessed by a God. Best way to think of this is like food. So say you've been really hungry, and then you're going about your day and you finally have a really big lunch, good friends, good people. You know how after you eat, you just feel like, so tired. Like I could have a siesta, I could have a snooze. That's because it takes energy to create chemistry. That's the law. It takes energy to create a baby. It takes energy to have an orgasm. It takes energy to digest your food. Okay, so these base survival behaviors I'm talking about, they're all about consumption. And we keep depleting the resources we have and living from this stress response. And then all our energy is trapped there. Okay, so your mission today is to bring compassion and complete present moment awareness into the next event. Maybe you're about to get on a bus, maybe you're about to see one of your work colleagues, you got to deal with your mother-in-law, whatever it is. It's my challenge to you, is to see how conscious you can be today. And then once you master it, and then you start practicing it, and you can live extended periods of time, days, weeks, eventually months, without reactivity, you will feel so much energy moving around you. You'll feel like you've been possessed by a God. And then those old dreams, those old desires that you've had, that creativity, that genius that's inside you, you notice that it just lights up. You just feel inspired. Because inspiration is the movement of energy up your spinal cord. And to create something brilliant, to bring forward something magical into this universe, requires inspiration. Okay? Otherwise, it's just flat, it's just lackluster, and no one else is going to resonate with it. So there's today's video. Remember, 2 states of being that you can live in. One is unconscious and it's reactive. The other is all about consciousness and it's expressive. It's about creation. It's about you emulating the universal consciousness that's inside you. It is you. It's the true self, beyond name and form. That's today's video. Anyway, guys, as always, sending you light, sending you love. If you're interested in reading my new book, Limitless, Reconnecting with the Infinite Power Within, it's at damienhorton.com/books. And yeah, as always, sending light and love. Peace.